All right, 6:33 this morning on News Radio WRVA. My name is Rich Herrera. Thanks for joining us. The text message is coming in. Lots of people talking about our drivers here in the Commonwealth. So I told you during our top five, the best drivers are not from Massachusetts. Boston, actually the worst driver in the country, the worst drivers in the country. So how are we? If you want to rate us A, B, C, D, or F, how good is the driving here in Richmond, Virginia? What's the craziest thing that you see driving-wise? I'll tell you this. There are some really good drivers in the Commonwealth, and there are some awful, horrible drivers here in the Commonwealth. There are some bad. We went to Virginia Beach this weekend. There are a couple of idiots that, I'm like, where is a cop to pull this idiot over? So, again, tell us, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. What's worse, Super Dave? Someone who drives way too fast or someone who drives way too slow?
Oh, for me, way too slow.
That's worse.
Oh, God, yeah.
How about it's way too slow in the passing lane?
Way too slow, period. If you have to drive so slow, why are you even driving? Just stay home. You don't have to go anywhere that bad.
Jeez.
This coming from someone who drives. This coming from someone who drives very fast.
I don't know. You never drive. Never go anywhere. You make me drive.
That's because you drive a lot safer than I do.
There you go. I'm safe. I don't need to drive.
I think you drive a little slow, but
I drive a little slow.
Not bad. I don't think you're a bad driver at all. I have no problem riding with you at all.
Right. I drive a level. I'm a defensive driver.
Yeah.
I'm a defensive
I would say that.
driver.
Yeah.
That's how I was taught to drive, defensive driver. Number one, I was always afraid of a kid of getting a speeding ticket because my folks would crush me. So I drive defensively. My wife hates it. So when we go on trips, like we went to Virginia Beach this weekend, she drives. You know what I do? Put my seat back and take a nap or play on my phone the entire time.
Now, your wife is from one of the worst driver cities.
Worst cities to drive in America.
Is she bad?
No, she's good. No, she's a good driver.
Okay, good.
You notice that?
Yeah, you had to think about it.
No, well, yeah, I had to think about what's going to happen when I go home today. No, she's a good driver. Sometimes she's a little aggressive. I'm like, look at her like, hey, Mario, take it easy. There's a brake on the car.
But we can get into why I drive fast, because people always ask me why I drive fast.
Why do you drive fast?
Well, I was going to get into it later. All
right, well, I'll save that for later. We'll do that in the 933 experiment.
And I think it's a good excuse, but some people say, really?
There are some morons. We're driving over there that are doing like 110.
I don't do that. I do not. I don't drive that fast.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that coming up. You want to grade drivers. How good are we at driving here in Virginia? Do we belong top of the list, bottom list? Give me a letter grade. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. All right, I wanted to bring something up for you this morning just to share with you, all of my dear friends, that we continue to try to do our very, very best to become California. So what's one of the biggest issues we have here in the Commonwealth of Virginia? It's electricity for data centers, for more growth. And we just don't have enough electricity here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We just don't. But we don't build power plants either. We could do those small nuclear reactors, but I don't see any emphasis on doing that. You know, when the submarines come back into naval bases or the aircraft carriers come back in, they actually plug them into the grid at the naval bases, and they power the entire naval base. Pretty easy, pretty safe. But for whatever reason here in the Commonwealth, where we're screaming, I mean, on a daily basis, you can't look at the newspaper, watch the evening news, or listen to talk radio, and someone in Virginia isn't talking about how much we need more electricity. It is a huge, huge, huge deal for us here in the Commonwealth. So the governor comes out yesterday and she goes, you know what we're going to do? Let's do what California. She actually didn't say that, but she might as well have said, let's go solar, because that'll solve all of our problems. I'm putting words in her mouth, but basically that's what we have coming here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So Let me take you back to a faraway land that was once beautiful, prosperous, and glorious, where people were moving to get to because they wanted to live in the promised land, which now is a hellscape that people can't wait to get out of, and that's called California. So right now, you're starting to see this, and I'm telling you, it's going to take off like you won't believe in the next 6 months to a year. Everybody's going to want solar. Everybody's going to demand solar. Everybody's going to think solar is the greatest thing in the whole wide world. I think solar is good. But I think when you put the thumb of government on there and there becomes incentives, I think it gets lost. And that's what I see coming up here. Solar is just one of the things that you need in order to have enough energy to power your state. Solar cannot be the end all and be all. And that's where I'm afraid we're going to go. So I'm going to speak up right now before it gets too far. Solar is just a small portion of what you could do to help your Commonwealth power itself. And again, with all the data centers that we have over here and all the growth we want to have, solar is just a small, tiny piece of the puzzle, because there's a couple things that are true. It doesn't always, the sun doesn't always shine, and solar panels can only hold a charge and power your house for a very short duration of time. So if you have all that energy, electricity that you get during the middle of the day, when you get home and you want to use your TV at 8 o'clock, most of the time you're getting back onto the grid and buying power from Dominion anyway. So many people think, oh, I put solar on, I'm completely disassociated, disconnected from the rest of the grid. I am on my own. Until you figure out that, well, if we have days like we had during December, where we had those ice storms and there was no sun for days, that means there's no electricity being generated at your house. So that means you're going back on the grid. Now, California revealed one of the biggest problems with government-directed energy policy, and that's what we're going to see here in Virginia. Californians were told, simply, put solar panels in your roof, and you'll generate your own electricity. You use less power for the utility, and you'll lower your bills, and you'll help save the planet. State started offering incentives. See the pattern? Generated generous solar credits and required solar on many new homes. So families went out and they spent thousands of dollars on panels and batteries because they were told their investment would pay off. Or somebody came in and said, hey, I'll install the panels and take the electricity, and I'll give you some and I'll pay you for some, but I'm going to be that middleman in here because many people can't afford to put the solar panels on top of their house. But now we get to where the rubber hits the road. Even solar customers still need to stay on the electric grid. They need it at night during cloudy days, extreme heat, and whatever their panels cannot produce enough electricity for that house. So again, think of when we had all of our ice storms, there was no sunshine for days. If you were just relying on solar, the way that they sell this thing, you would have no electricity. Then, here's what happened in California. So many people put solar panels on top of the house. My dad has it, my brother has it, my sister has it. You had it at schools. Everybody you know has a solar panel. But then you weren't spending enough with the electric company. In this case, in California, it's called PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, for most of the state. They had to start charging you a fee for not using enough electricity because they're this is incredible. People use less electricity, which is what we want when you use solar power, but PG&E couldn't sustain itself, so they started charging you a fee for not using electricity because you just weren't buying enough from them, and they needed that in order to stay afloat because they still got to pay for the grid, the transmission lines, and everything else. So you see where I'm going here? If we all get electrical from our solar panels, we all get electricity from our solar panels, you still got to upgrade the grid. You still got to pay for the transmission lines. And if you're just getting it from yourself, Dominion's still going to have to charge you for it. So you're still going to have to pay for it. So now in California, there's a flat fee every month for not using electricity to pay for everything else. They encourage people to buy less power. They subsidize solar, mandated it, and promised savings that we'd all become more energy independent. And when the customers use less power, the state discovered the cost of the grid did not disappear. Somebody still has to pay for all of that. So now customers in California are saying, congratulations for reducing your electrical use, but you still owe a monthly fee for just staying connected. That's the problem when you have central planning and you have government getting involved in all of this. And I can go through and show you the numbers. Not including a battery. Right now, you're probably looking at about, with the battery. With the battery, you're probably looking at about $30,000 to $40,000 to put that solar panel on top of your house. Now, you will get a huge discount on that. But again, your initial cost and your savings and your payback period, it's kind of sketchy. And I'll walk through all that for you a little bit later. But again, I got a better idea. How about we build more power plants? How about we look for those small nuclear reactors? How about we do something? I've just seen this boondoggle over and over and over again with the solar, and I see the same playbook being used here of, hey, we'll all use solar, but we can't pay for the grid. Welcome to the same playbook they used in California that they're using here in Virginia. You want to comment? 833-804-1140. It's just not that simple. It's going to be trotted out that simple, but it's just not. We'll continue with you. I'm Rich Herrera. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is News Radio WRVA. By the way, WRVA news time is 6:45. So, Pearson Signature Dealerships bring you today's radio